Whoop, whoop, whoop. And we are live. This is the Soapbox Social with Chef Boy Basquiat and Keisha Everyday. Oh, what are you drinking? It's the fact that I'm just now seeing this. You just now pulled this out. What is this?
Lemonade.
Um, well, anyways, since you don't know the topic, but it should be common sense because today is Father's Day,
Okay.
and um,
Okay.
I know I wanted to put out a video earlier, but I couldn't think of what and how I wanted that to be, and yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
and so leading up to it, I was thinking like, am I gonna do a Father's Day episode? Am I gonna, yeah, I mean, what am I gonna do? And I would have felt real bogus not to do a Father's Day episode, especially with my mission being my mission,
Okay.
as far
Good.
as uplifting men and being a support for men, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so within that, I want to basically get on here today and give like I don't know, positive reinforcement and what great stories and or encouragement, you know. Um,
Okay.
so
Good.
what was funny is it's not funny, but you know, church. You watch church, but I was sitting in church amazed by the amount of men celebrating and worshiping
Mm-hmm.
God while within celebrating themselves, you know, at church today.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They look good.
And I was just sitting there and I was just taken back because, you know, it's nice seeing other men celebrate together. It's a rare occasion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and within there, like within sitting there, I was sitting there, um, you know, of course, my mind is running. And I was sitting there like, dang, why are there few moments of recognition and celebration of men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Um,
Yeah.
because I don't know, it's just, I mean, obviously, it's easier to point out the things that men don't do, right? Rather than understand and like point out the subtleness of men being men and men being fathers and like the subtle things that men do that are impactful in their children's life. Because I
Mm-hmm.
was I was sitting there, I was sitting there laughing in church and chuckling. Like I'm like a lot of the times, most of the impactful things from rather it's a grandparent or a father is if you talking to them and you just hear them go, mm, or they'll go,
Mm-hmm.
or you'll hear like you'll just feel their presence whenever you're doing something mischievous or something you shouldn't be doing, or you'll
Right.
just hear a from a distance, right? And I guess in real time you don't understand the impact of those things, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so I was also wanted to I wanted to ask you in particular. I mean, anybody out there. I mean, anybody. You can give your answers or
Anybody?
your input. Um,
Anybody?
you said, huh?
I said anybody, somebody.
Yeah. Um, dang, you threw me out because I had it, but I lost it. But now,
You
oh,
just want. Yeah.
what is celebrating a father and or a guy look like for you? What is a what is what would be what would celebration be coming from you and or your ideal celebration of a guy for Father's Day or just in general as far as gratitude?
Well, to all the fathers, just right now, happy Father's Day, and keep doing a good job and doing the best that you can. But for me, in general, I never really had a father figure. But as far as, you know, my typical thing of if I was to celebrate Father's Day, just hold, the man, the father, and just great and high honor, let them know that they're loved and make sure they're feeling nourished as well, as far as the day and every day. Actually, you should just celebrate for, you know, men being alive because they kind of got it harder than women here. But I would just celebrate it to make that they wouldn't have to touch a thing but a napkin to clean their mouth after eating, or just make sure that they feel really high honored on this
Are
day and
are
every
you
day.
saying that? Are you saying that because I was teasing you earlier? Well, not really teasing you. I was just laughing, basically saying like restaurants and stuff wasn't gonna be packed because y'all would have men on the grill on Father's Day.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, what made you think that they would be on the grill? But I said
But
only if they feel like they wanted to be on the grill.
hmm but not
So,
so because I already knew that that would be a highlight for you. But I wanted you to say it, which would lead into me talking about it with you saying not having a biological father, but a lot of people, even with fathers in life, still build a father. Take from different father figures. Um, I don't know. I guess it. Well, not. I guess I don't understand the different ways that women do it when they do it. Like I can understand how a guy picks and pulls different things from other men as far as influence and stuff. What does that look like from a woman's point of view? Like, how do you guys get the things from different influential men throughout your life?
like, what do you mean? How do we get? What are we
As
getting?
far
Like,
as like as as far as from father figures, like in in the spots of a void of a father, how do you guys put together a father? Because I understand how guys do it. You know what I mean?
oh, how would I? What would I think of a father or what it
No,
looked
no,
like?
no, no,
What?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
Listen. So,
Yeah.
as far as I'm a walk you, that's what I'm have to do. So you know how you were like, oh, okay, I didn't have my father, right? How did
Uh-huh.
you? How did you? Maybe you didn't though. As far as so, when I say build a father as a guy, I'm gonna give you an example. For me, it was it was building a father. Even though I did have my father, it was the other things that I seeked, as far
Mm-hmm.
as how a man conducted himself, um, just overall teaching, overall learning. I picked those things from different men along the way, as far as different etiquettes,
Uh-huh.
um, strides. That's a big thing. Identifiers, different things like that. So, I mean, I don't know what it's like to be a woman, obviously. So it's like I don't understand what a woman would need from a father. So what I'm asking is, how did you feel those, or create those, or find those in father figures along the way? Does that make sense?
Well, I'll just start with I gotta take back. I don't have any father figures. I had like my grandfather who was a great example. I'll use him for a great example as a father
Mm-hmm.
figure, even though he was my grandfather. But he did so many things like it's not saying that they should just work themselves to death, but it's just like they come in clutch. Like if the woman or women don't hold up their bargain, they're there to balance them out, if that makes sense. Like a balancer and a leader. He was a great leader, loving leader. Um, but I just, I felt nurtured by my grandfather as the male I can speak of in my life that's been in my life, but he's no longer here for rest his soul. But yeah, it's just like I just, he used to, you know, speak to me. My name was Headquarters. So he'll speak a lot of stuff to me, like, tell me what's good, when I say what's good, it's meaning what's good for me, stuff that still sticks today. Um, and just was there, like show up as the man, like that takes it back to the superhero. Like that was my male superhero, if that
Uh-huh.
makes
So
sense.
so you're saying show up, just so short with it. What help me
Just
understand
show up.
show
When
up.
I say show up, it's like, how would I put it? So if like no one's like say for instance, you're surrounded by, it's not just you, it's you have siblings and you still somewhat feel alone or whatever, but he'll show up in a sense to where, like, even if I wasn't in need, you know what I'm saying? I mean, of course, it was just like kids are needy, children are needy. But when you show up for a needy child, that's just more powerful than like spending money or, I don't like, not so much on a financial way, just more of on a love vibrational way to where, hey, I'm here, just in like in a sense of God, like I'm here, I'm here for you.
So
Or if no one's coming to attend to your attentive needs, I'm here for you. I will show
yeah.
up, be there.
So because I wanted you to just expound on that because you was real short. But there was another
Uh,
part in what you said as far as um, the affection, because a lot of the times men's affection isn't spoken on as far as a father, you know. Um,
mm-hmm.
but men's affection is different than a woman's affection towards a child. So could you elaborate on what you mean as far as affection that you received from your father figure? Does that make sense?
Affection. So to me, what I felt was like he was so soft spoken, if that makes sense. Like I ain't gonna say he was delicate with me, but you can put that word there. Like it was just a soft presence. Like you can feel comfortable. You can feel at ease. 'Cause, some kids be scared. They get yelled at and they be like, okay,
Yeah.
dad, like, no, dad. But it was just more, I don't know, just he had a
So
great sensitivity about himself. Like,
because you had touched on it, you just didn't articulate it as far as because I think it's harder for boys at the time of adolescence to understand
mhm,
the love through reprimand, like being reprimanded. So
mhm, mhm,
after receiving the sternness, it's just like, well, all right, I don't want to receive that again, but not understanding that the reprimanding is coming from love, to where
mhm,
even after reprimanding, when you were receiving those hugs and all of that, is it's defense there, so you don't really live in the affection side, which is why I feel like a lot of guys don't understand the affection that they actually receive from a father.
mhm, mhm. Now that
Um,
makes sense. And let me spin off of that real quick. When you said that, it's just like those were in my younger days, and my age, right? And a lot of things has changed since then. So I feel what you're saying when you say, okay, maybe they haven't felt it in the right way. Well, it goes back to, my generation. Like when I just go back to the other part. My generation really, we were the toilet. I'll just say it like that because yeah.
no,
But it's just
I say that
that
I
thing,
say that
like,
look, I say that because if you can remember back when I don't remember who it was, but they had,
mhm,
the photo was going around of the guy that was consoling his son, giving his son a hug while his son was crying in his lap, crying,
mhm,
giving him a hug, and people were just like had everything to say about it, but it was just like it's easy for people. It was easy for people to do that because it was foreign to them, which is why I say it. They probably shut down as far as allowing their fathers to give them that consoling or that affection because either from reprimanding and or because of society and everything being so being so
Yep.
blurred. You can't.
Mhm.
It's been made to a way to where a man can't display healthy affection to his child or his son in particular without it being like, oh, well, that's weird. That's the alphabets. Put it like that.
Yeah. Or what if most men, or some of the men, I should say, 'cause, well, most, that they never was shown that from a male figure, or even the ones they looked up to. They, like you say, you can build one, but to have it from one, it's like that's a whole different field. Like, so you can't really show all your sensitivity and nurturing to, like, a son daughter type deal.
Hmm.
It's just
Not
it's just
so
like.
because I'm not even just putting the onus on just a father. You have multiple father figures in life as you come to
Mhm,
learn. So because I was,
mhm,
I be really, I don't know why. I be attentive in church. My mind just be
mhm,
scattered. And when I was just sitting there, I'm just like, dang. And mind you,
mhm,
I was listening to a lot after hearing an interview with Killer Mike and his album, right? So I was just, yeah. So, and it was the Dave Chappelle monologue. That's why I said I didn't make the video because he said it great. And
mhm,
everybody has that desire to be perfect and be complete. Um, and even a father has a desire to be complete and perfect. But even within that, it's just like when I look at it, I know what I'm trying to say. So it was a point in church when it was like, oh, what legacy did your father leave for you, right? You seen that part,
mhm,
right? And I was sitting there, I was like, oh, okay. I identified. I'm like, all right, he left me charisma, energetic spirit, et cetera, right? And I was just sitting there like, I'm like, dang, all right, those some great things. Um, but the magnifying glass is always on the lacking for when it comes
oh
to a
yeah,
man, you know? Um,
oh
it's never a man's appreciation is never the same as a woman's appreciation. And I was sitting there and I was just like, a man's back's cool while his face is burning, as opposed to a woman's back's burning while her face is cooling.
yeah.
Meaning,
Mhm,
a woman receives all the praise in her face, and a man receives the subtle pat on his back while his face is burning. You
mhm,
know,
mhm, mhm.
so um, I was just sitting there thinking, like, dang, a lot of men feel the pressures of being everything in one, and I was sitting there like, oh, if he had adequate friends, as far as like me with having uncles and whatever, not creating a healthy brotherhood and a union around himself would have been a great thing, because it wouldn't have been like, oh, well, I got to teach my son all these things. Which I
Yeah.
was fortunate to have, coaches. Playing sports is a huge help as far as
Mhm,
molding and creating that. Because I was sitting there and I was just like, dang, all right, if you'd have had, healthy friends around him to be like, hey, XYZ, I know you feel like this, but you don't know. Hey, the most powerful thing for any father that has like supportive friends in their life is if they friend to tell their son, "Hey, yo, your daddy trying, or he doing his
mhm,
best." Yeah, I mean,
mhm,
but a
mhm,
kid won't understand it in that time. But looking back, like anytime that you look back, like, all right, I was mad at him about that. All right, he trying. Like you'll understand that as you grow.
mhm.
Um,
Oh yeah.
or you know, back to the reprimanding. Like if you get reprimanded and you either got that your father's friend or uncle being that subtle voice, male voice to go to after if your father's communication isn't seeking it, like seeping into you, right? Um,
Mhm.
and it was just a lot of things like that pouring into my head today. So I was just like, dang, it would be weird for me not to do a episode for fathers and point out the great things about fathers. And they even touched on
Mhm.
it in church about you know, the failures. And I was sitting there
Mhm.
before church when I was in the gym earlier, and I was like, even within a father's failure is a teaching lesson, and it's a positive thing because it's like within your
Mhm.
father's failures, it's correction for you because you see it and you learn from it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That
So
other people say his. Yeah. Right.
so when I was asking like, yeah, like what examples of you building a full father could you have shared? That's really what I was getting at.
Mhm.
I could have asked that better because
Mhm.
I was just sitting there like, dang, all right, I done pulled from this person, that person, um, all of that. To where like I'd be sitting having conversations with myself like, oh, what fully could I complain about in like all actuality about my
Mhm.
father when it's like you meet people in life to learn.
Mhm.
So all the
Mhm.
onus can't be on your individual father if your father did everything that he was supposed to do as far as responsibility wise. Like granted, which they talked about it and touched on it too, as far as the foundation of a father. So the 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 you can I was sitting there and I was like, yo, you can never be mad about the starting point or the impartial creation of the foundation that your father set out for you because I mean if you can complain, you can complete it. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's what I was thinking about today.
So that's it. It all sounds great on this Father's Day. It really does. And just to say, you know, used to speaking of other men that have been like father like guys or that are fathers themselves, that helps out tremendously. Because, that's why, even what you're going for as far as men in general, building that man group or that, just that just so it can be like, men are able to be together without it being so much ego, uh how can I put it? Like ego driven or just like a power struggle amongst men, But that really is needed right now in these days and times. So, but yeah, that's just a great thing to look at. I'm happy you spoke of that. But like I said again, it's just like my grandfather is the only one that I can really truly say, because you still got to be, even if you wasn't comfortable, you felt comfortable in that moment just to open your ears and listen. You probably didn't want to hear from these men, but you listen, and
Yeah,
it's something stuck with.
I, I mean, I guess it's different for women because I don't like honestly what this is like out of a question out of pure ignorance. What
You.
does a daughter or a woman look for out of a father? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, of course,
Yeah,
it's the common sense things, like it's the umbrella thing, but like, what does that really look like to a daughter?
I think I'm gonna just go off of what I think because I really couldn't tell you from my own standpoint. But I just think that a daughter looking into a father is like they want to make sure they have that masculine protection as a girl, as a woman. Um, to feel like they can just, like I say, save the day from a woman's standpoint, adult, young adult, child. They just looking like, okay, daddy's gonna save the day. meaning he's gonna be there regardless of what. He's gonna be able to tell me about, the boys, the birds, the bees, just as well as the mother can. But just they have to just be able to feel like they can be open to a male because without that in the world, then how are they going to be open to men without being open in any other type of way? If that makes
I I
sense.
understand what you're saying. I understand because so it's funny. All I needed to do is see you say that. So earlier, because I was really wanting to put together a video, which I still will do. It probably be next time though. And
Mhm,
I was gonna use an image, well, two images. I was gonna use the image of a man's hands with dirt on them, of course, as far as
mhm,
planting seeds and really tending to things, and then a,
mhm,
a man's hands kneading dough, because those are two different. It takes two different levels of firmness and delicacy
mhm,
as far as with hands-on things.
uh-huh,
Because when
mhm,
you're planting the seed, of course, you can be more firm and you have to dig things up and uproot things. But when it comes
mhm,
to baking or whatever with dough, you have to be more careful with kneading and
mhm,
molding.
mhm,
So
mhm.
with you saying that, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, that's did I say that right? But anyway, but yeah, that's so true. And then just like with that would have been a perfect picture too, but you would have had to explain it like you did now because some people wouldn't have. They'd be like, "Oh, okay, well these are hands, and that's a dirty hand, and this is a,"
No, 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 no.
you know
I
what
was
I'm
gonna I was gonna voice over it. Like that's what I plan on doing.
saying? Okay, that would have that's an awesome idea because it's so true. They work so hard, even though they don't get the recognition or the honor, they deserve regardless of what mistakes or what the woman didn't like. It's just like, okay, still give me my credit. I don't like saying give me my flowers. Maybe
Hey,
give
now
me my
look,
credit
because you brought
while
it
I'm
up.
while
Because
I'm
you brought it up. And
hmm
so I was sitting there and I was just like, it's so a father has to father through their flaws being known and that never being able to be lived down, while a mother's past and or flaws, she can parent through that because it's never brought up or thrown in her face as blatant as a man's flaws. So when you were like, oh, I don't, whatever, the flowers thing, I was just like, yeah, I was like, because a, a, a father's legs in certain instances, not all instances, we know instances I'm talking about. His legs are cut from under him gradually, sometimes rapidly, to where
hmm
he's focused on keeping in building his relationship with his child while really trying to, the pressures of being perfect.
hmm
So yeah.
yeah. You got me right. I don't know why I laughed, but yeah, I mean, like I said again, the fathers. I'll say it. The fathers do not receive great recognition. It's just like with this one day flat celebration type stuff. It's just like that's not enough. It's not enough. Not enough for the men. It just keeps making things seem publicly weakened for men. But as long as they keep doing what they're doing for their families, for their that looks delicious. For their children, for the children that they have under their wing that are not their children. It's just like keep doing what you guys are doing because you might not get it like rewarded financially or just publicly all the time, but just know the people you're doing it for, they will, you know, hold you in high honor, or they should hold you in a high honor regardless of what. At least they're trying. I should say that. And even if the word trying just seems so blah, but At least they're doing. They're not lazy, lazy fathers, you know.
But no,
But
I
the ones
see. I don't
great.
even like that. But I don't even like that because what is a lazy father actually? We should put a name to that. What is a
Okay,
lazy
my
father actually?
definition of a lazy father is a father who will sit back and not do a thing. That's a lazy father. Sit back, not work. Sit back, not get their hands dirty. Sit back and just watch the children be like, "Oh, I'm struggling in school," but you're sitting right there. You're being lazy. Oh, okay. Well, no, I don't have time today. Or the lazy is like doing nothing. So what I should put it up worse, not the bum, not the bum of a father, not the ones who's like, the ones who just don't do a thing. Like, and knowing that they are a father, it could be a father figure in either nephews, neighborhood children, whatever. Don't just be lazy to the position that you can actually just take up on in the right way. Not showing children how to be bums or lazy, or I don't know what other word to put on it. But for the ones who are just showing that they can,
My
get out
mama
and
learned
work,
how.
get out
My
and
there we go. All
get
right,
up.
look, there we go.
Oh, yeah, they have to show some type of productivity, not be a lazy bum. I can't. That's
Application.
just
My mom. If
over.
it's one thing my mama learned how to know how to do, it'd be the bash on Father's Day. Jesus Christ. So a
Well, I'm
man that
not
doesn't
bashing like that. I'm
a
being
man
honest.
that has no
Call
application
it
to things.
a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, call a thing a thing. But I'm
So
just saying. But like again, the good fathers, the great fathers, the fathers that are just trying, the fathers that are hardly ever acknowledged,
no,
those
no,
fathers.
but you got the fathers that are looked at as you got the fathers that are looked at as doing bare minimum when they work two jobs and only come in, sleep, and then wake up and leave, but got time to eat in between those two jobs. You know what I mean? So we're
That's
not
not
talking
a
about
bum.
them, correct? Okay, there we
No,
go.
that's not a bum.
Just gotta highlight things.
There's different
She
levels.
said
The
she
bum
said,
is at the bottom of the totem pole, but all the ones who are still trucking and going
but
up the steps to where
I understand what you're saying, but you don't know
they
how to
might
say
not
it.
be able to stay at home with their family or children a
Hmm.
lot. Yeah, but the children are aware. Once they get older, if they're young, they won't remember a thing if they from the ages of 0 to almost 2 years old, sometimes three. But the ones who are seeing their father out doing productive things,
Hmm.
there's no question. There's no question about it. Not saying, "Oh, okay, well, my father did this and he's locked up." No, that's still a good father because maybe he had to do what he had to do, how he knew how to do it. That
Look,
doesn't make him a bum. Okay, I'm just putting it where it need to be because they're still happy first Father's Day to the bum, but
hey,
most
hey,
importantly, and
next
more most importantly,
Mother's Day, I'm gonna talk about the bum mothers because you can't be dropping
let's
bum
talk
on
about
Father's
this.
Day.
Okay, well, sorry, but not sorry. I still got to speak my truth. But to the fathers who are just doing their thing, regardless of how they're doing their thing, I salute you. And still happy Father Day to the bum from T-shirt Day. So serious. I'm so serious. Still got to, I
But
didn't,
no,
I didn't like put them like down bad. The names probably sound harsh, but the facts are still there. I'm not
uh,
going to just say, okay, bum, you're doing good. No.
mm-hmm.
Look
All
at
right,
the
fool.
bird even on that one. The birds even chirp. Doo-doo-doo.
There we go. Would you like to leave off on something positive before we end this?
Yes, I still love all the bums and the great dads, but most of all, I hope everyone had a happy, blessed Father's Day. And yeah, keep being strong.
So says Keisha every day. All right. This has been another episode of the Soapbox Social. Catch y'all next time.